Are we finishing up 2 Samuel today? We are finishing up 2 Samuel. Hot dog. So David is out. You're not yanking the rug out from under me and doing a 3rd Samuel, right? No extra Samuel. Because I didn't like you doing that last time. This'll be it. Great. Wow, that got scary. So, what's David up to? So, like I was about to say, David is out again as the leader of Israel. What, again? Yeah, some troublemaker named Sheba pops up out of nowhere. And he says, we have no stake in this David guy. Let's do our own thing. And just like that, the Israelites desert David. Dadgum, these Israelites are a fickle lot. Anyway, the wind blows, I guess. So David sends the commander Amasa to go round up the troops in Judah for an attack on this Sheba guy. Okay, but Amasa takes longer than expected to get the troops to pursue Sheba, so David sends another group of men out to do it. Alright, and when the commander of the second group, Joab, finally meets up with Amasa, the tardy commander of the first group, Joab says, "How are you, my brother?" and he leans in to give him a kiss. Ooh, what a friendly fellow. Yeah. And then Joab stabs Amasa in the belly and spills his guts on the ground. Oh my god! Yep, leaves him wallowing in his own blood in the middle of the road. That took such a turn. Why did Joab do that? I have no idea. Is there a moral to the story here I missed? Don't be tardy rallying the troops or you might get your guts spilled on the ground. So much wisdom in one holy book. Yeah. I guess Joab is in charge of the troops now? He is, and with the Israelites and Judeans united, they chase the troublemaker Sheba into this fortified town. Oh boy, is it going to be hard to get Sheba out of a fortified town? Oh no, it's going to be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh really? Yep. See, the Israelites are laying siege to this town when this lady sticks her head out a window and says, "What the heck, guys? We're peaceful. Why are you whacking our town? That's not cool." A lady is the spokesperson for the town, eh? Tell me about her. No. Well, okay then. So Joab tells her that there's this Sheba guy holed up in her town and that he's a troublemaker, and if they just turn him over, the siege will be called off. What, there's a dialogue happening between the two parties to see if they can avert bloodshed? Huh. I guess so. What a lovely change of pace. Does the lady take Joab up on his offer? She sure does, and she says, "His head will be thrown to you from the wall." His head will be... That's a great line. Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. The people of the town locate Sheba, cut off his head, and toss it to the Israelites, who then leave peacefully. Oh, wow. Well, and that wraps up that unpleasant episode. Are you sure you wouldn't rather use the adjective pointless instead? Knock it off. So now there's been 3 years of famine during David's reign. Well, okay. And David asks the Lord, "Hey, what's up with that?" And the Lord answers, "It's because Saul put the Gibeonites to death." Hang on, I'm so confused. We're back on Saul? Apparently. When did Saul mess with the Gibeonites? That episode seems to be missing. Whoops. Whoopsie. You know, it's not going to make any sense to spring this out of nowhere. I'll just retcon it in here and we'll move on. Maybe that'll work. Now, the Gibeonites want revenge for what Saul did to them because, you know, that was not cool. This thing you just added? Hey, shut up. So they demand 7 of Saul's sons be handed over to them so that they can kill them. How incredibly barbaric. So David tells them to go fuck off? No, he hands them over. What? And the Gibeonites kill them and leave them exposed to be scavenged by animals. Back up a second. God damn it. The only time I've heard you mention the Gibeonites up until now was during the Gibeonite deception way back in Joshua. True. And in that book, the Gibeonites had tried to trick Joshua and were basically reduced to a vassal state as a result of their attempted subterfuge. That is correct. And yet you're saying now that Saul has some violent history with them, which would make it a fairly recent event. That does appear to be what I've written. And that Saul doing this has made God angry. Yes, and God has afflicted his chosen people with yet another famine on behalf of the Gibeonites. Yes, that is what I wrote. This makes no sense. The Israelites, with God's explicit endorsement, have routinely exterminated tribes all around them. Yes, and the Gibeonites were this close to being on the genocide list themselves as it is, and thus had no special protected status. And if God changed his mind and wanted them left alone, you had plenty of opportunity to include that in your narrative there. Not to mention, with God being omniscient and omnipotent, he could have stopped Saul from molesting the Gibeonites if they were that important to him. Yet here we are in the middle of a 3-year famine during David's reign, and you're referencing Saul and Gibeon of all things. Look, I'm going to need you to get all the way off my back about the bizarre incongruity of this arbitrary plot element. Okay, sure, let me get off that thing. Great. So There's a bunch more battles with some Philistines. Anything interesting there? There's a guy with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. Is that significant? Nah. Wow. And then David sings a big old song about how awesome God is. Is it absolutely over the top with hyperbole and sycophancy? Oh hell yeah, you could gag on it. Sick. And then in the next chapter we have David's last words. Oh, we're losing David? Nope. And then we devote 30 lines to his mighty men. Oh, that sounds promising. Yeah, it's not. Huh. And we start the final chapter with God becoming murderously angry with the Israelites yet again. Oh shit, what now? God gets super mad at David because he takes a census of all his fighting men in Israel and Judah. Why would God be mad about something like that? Oh, that is completely unaddressed here. Okay. If a census is a serious offense, why would David order one in the first place? Because God told him to. What? God is angry at the Israelites, and he tells David to do something that will make him even angrier. I am so confused. Tell me again, why is God starting off this chapter so angry? I'm just going to leave that open-ended for the moment, and scholars centuries from now can make up whatever bullshit explanation they want. Oh, leaving the reason for God's hostility open to interpretation from scholars centuries from now is tight. Yeah. So how does our merciful deity handle this egregious infraction? David's sin in ordering a census must, of course, result in a punishment for the people. David perpetrated the infraction, but it's the people who suffer the actual discipline. Duh. Why doesn't God just punish, David? Go on. And God gives David a list of punishments from which to choose to inflict upon the people. David gets to decide his punishment? God is so good. Always. What holy penalties does he have to choose from? 3 years of famine, 3 months of being pursued by enemies, or 3 days of plague? They're all in threes. Yeah, I thought that'd be fun. It is. It is so much fun. And David picks the 3 days of plague. Ugh. I hope David's feeling at least a little guilty for putting the people into God's crosshairs. Oh, absolutely. And he even begs the Lord to punish only him, the shepherd, because the people, his sheep, are blameless. Hey! For all his faults, I gotta give David props for stepping up to take the blame here. Oh yeah, we're still polishing that image. So does God reward David's attempt at martyrdom? Oh hell no, he goes ahead and murders 70,000 people with the 3 days of plague. Oh my God. Yeah, that ought to teach David's census-taking ass a lesson. Very wise, very holy. And that is basically the abrupt ending to 2 Samuel. So what do you think? It was a hot mess, but you know what? I'm not gonna complain. No? Nah, I'm just grateful the Samuels are finally done. What's coming up next? We continue the story of David into the next book, 1 Kings. Of course we do. You don't seem excited, sir. I could use a break from this stuff. We're only about a third of the way through this thing. Christ almighty. So you're saying I shouldn't hold my breath? Not unless you can hold it about 1,000 years. Pardon me?